बोलिए भगवान श्री रामचंद्र की जय। वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। आनंद मानंद कर प्रसन्नम प्रेम स्वरूपम ब्रज भावयुक्तम योगीन्द्रमीड्यम भवरोग वैद्यम गुरुं कृपालुं प्रणमामि नित्यम्। नमः कमलनाभाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वं ह देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Dear devotees of God, let's chant for a few minutes, beginning with Raghavendra Raghupati Shri Ram, Shobhit Sita Mata Bam. For those of you who are listening through the medium of radio, I would like to read the meaning of these words. Shri Ramchandraji is the crest jewel of Raghu dynasty. Seated by his side is Mother Sita. The most attractive, dark-complexioned Bhagwan Shri Ram is pleasing to the eyes. His divine body is conscious and blissful. Bhagwan Ram is the ocean of love, beauty, and nectar. Only Ram is as merciful as Ram. O Lord Ram, I desire neither pleasures of Maya nor liberation. My only desire is to attain selfless love. I have no concern with the abode of Vaikuntha. I only want my sweet Lord Ram. Although Ram is desireless, yet he is sold at the hands of his selfless devotees. You are mine, O Ram, and I am yours. Then why have you forgotten me? Jagatguru Shri Kripalu ji Maharaj says, there is none as merciful as Ram, who sent even a vulture, Jatayu, to reside eternally in his divine abode. Saket. Raghavendra Raghupati Shri Ram Shobhit Sita Mata Bam Raghavendra Raghupati Shri Ram Shobhit Sita Mata Bam Raghavendra Raghupati Shri Ram Shobhit सीता माता नयनाभिराम राम पूर्ण काम नयनाभिराम राम पूर्ण काम नयनाभिराम राम पूर्ण काम नयनाभिराम राम पूर्ण काम चिद घन आनंद घन तन श्याम चिद घन आनंद घन तन श्याम नयनाभिराम राम पूर्ण काम चिद घन आनंद घन तन श्याम राम पूर्ण काम चिद घन आनंद घन तन श्याम नयनाभिराम राम पूर्ण काम चिद घन आनंद घन तन श्याम बोलिए ताली बजाइए प्लीज क्लास राघवेंद्र रघुपति श्री राम शोभित सीता माता राम राघवेंद्र रघुपति श्री राम शोभित सीता माता प्रेम रूप रस अम्बुधिरा प्रेम रूप रस अम्बुधिरा प्रेम रूप रस अम्बुधिराम प्रेम रूप रस अम्बुधिराम राम समान दयानिधि राम राम समान दयानिधि राम समान दयानिधि राम समान दयानिधि प्रेम रूप रस प्रेम रूप रस अम्बुधि राम समान दयानिधि 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 राघवेंद्र रघुपति श्री राम शोभित सीता माता राघवेंद्र रघुपति श्री राम
शोभित सीता माता
भुक्ति मुक्ति नहीं मांगत राम,
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 दे दो मोहि प्रेम निष्काम,
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 भुक्ति मुक्ति नहीं, भुक्ति मुक्ति नहीं मांगत राम, दे दो मोहि प्रेम निष्काम,
भुक्ति मुक्ति नहीं मांगत राम, दे दो मोहि प्रेम निष्काम,
भुक्ति मुक्ति नहीं मांगत राम, दे दो मोहि प्रेम निष्काम,
भुक्ति मुक्ति नहीं मांगत राम, दे दो मोहि प्रेम निष्काम,
राघवेंद्र रघुपति श्री राम, शोभित सीता माता बाम,
राघवेंद्र रघुपति श्री राम, शोभित सीता माता बाम,
नहीं चाहिए वैकुंठ ललाम,
नहीं चाहिए बैकुंठ ललाम,
नहीं चाहिए वैकुंठ ललाम,
नहीं चाहिए बैकुंठ ललाम,
हमें एक राम ही सो काम,
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 नहीं चाहिए, नहीं चाहिए वैकुंठ ललाम, हमें एक राम ही सो काम,
नहीं चाहिए बैकुंठ राम, हमें एक राम ही सो काम,
राघवेंद्र रघुपति श्री राम, शोभित सीता माता बाम,
राघवेंद्र रघुपति श्री राम, शोभित सीता माता बाम,
यद्यपि राम है, यद्यपि राम है पूर्ण काम,
यद्यपि राम है पूर्ण काम,
यद्यपि राम है कर बिनु ही दाम,
बिके भक्त कर बिनु ही दाम,
बिके भक्त कर बिनु ही दाम,
बिके भक्त कर बिनु ही दाम।
यद्यपि राम है, यद्यपि राम है पूर्ण काम, बिके भक्त कर बिनु ही दाम।
यद्यपि राम है पूर्ण काम, बिके भक्त कर बिनु ही दाम।
यद्यपि राम है पूर्ण काम, बिके भक्त कर बिनु ही दाम।
यद्यपि राम है पूर्ण काम, बिके भक्त कर बिनु ही दाम।
राघवेंद्र रघुपति श्री राम, शोभित सीता माता बाम।
राघवेंद्र रघुपति श्री राम, शोभित सीता माता बाम।
तुम मेरे हम तेरे राम,
मेरे हम तेरे राम,
तुम मेरे हम तेरे राम,
तुम मेरे हम तेरे राम,
तेरे राम,
तेरे राम,
तेरे राम,
हम तेरे राम।
तुम मेरे हम तेरे राम,
तुम मेरे हम तेरे राम।
पुनि मोहि बिसरायेउ कस राम,
तुनि मोहि बिसरायेउ कस राम,
पुनि मोहि बिसरायेउ कस राम,
पुनि मोहि बिसरायेउ कस राम।
तुम मेरे हम तेरे राम, पुनि मोहि बिसरायेउ कस राम।
तुम मेरे हम तेरे राम, पुनि मोहि बिसरायेउ कस राम।
राघवेंद्र रघुपति श्री राम, शोभित सीता माता बाम।
राघवेंद्र रघुपति श्री राम, शोभित सीता माता बाम।
नहीं कृपालु को अस जस राम,
नहीं कृपालु को अस जस राम,
नहीं कृपालु को अस जस राम,
नहीं कृपालु को अस जस राम।
गिधहु दीन्यो आपनो धाम,
गी
अस जस राम विधहु दीन्यो अपनो धाम।
नहीं कृपाल को अस जस राम विधहु दीन्यो आपनो धाम।
नहीं कृपालु को अस जस राम विधहु दीन्यो आपनो धाम।
नहीं कृपाल को अस जस राम विधहु दीन्यो आपनो धाम।
राघवेंद्र रघुपति श्री राम शोभित सीता माता बाम।
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 सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। Second one is a bhajan from Prem Ras Madira by Jagat Guru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj. The words are Apnapan Rakhna Mere Ghanshyam. A devotee lovingly prays to Bhagwan, O my Shyam Sundar, always look upon me as your very own. Don't keep a distance between you and I. Let there be no formality between you and I. I beg you to look upon me as your very own. In other words, take liberties with me. घड़ी घड़ी पल पल नाम तिहारो रटे मेरी रसना मेरे घनश्याम. My sole desire is to sing songs of your glory each and every moment. लली लाल दो दैगर बाही हमारे ही ये बसना मेरे घनश्याम. Dwell in my heart, O Radha and Krishna, with arms wrapped around one another. भाव हिंडोरे डारी हिये में झुलाऊं नित झुलना मेरे घनश्याम. I wish to swing both of you gently, rock both of you gently on the swing of my loving devotional sentiments in my heart. दै उपहार हार असुवन को बना लूं तुझे अपना मेरे घनश्याम. By presenting to you a garland of tears, I shall make you mine forever. कैसे हूँ करी कृपालु प्रभु अपनो पुरवो मम सपना मेरे घनश्याम. Jagat Guru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj says, O Shyam Sundar, no matter how you do it, please make this dream of mine come true. अपना पन रखना मेरे घनश्याम.
अपना पन रखना
अपनापन अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम।
अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम।
ओ मेरे घनश्याम,
ओ मेरे घनश्याम।
घड़ी घड़ी पल पल नाम तिहारो।
घड़ी घड़ी पल पल नाम तिहारो।
नाम तिहारो।
नाम तिहारो।
घड़ी घड़ी पल पल नाम तिहारो।
घड़ी घड़ी पल पल नाम तिहारो।
रटे मेरी रसना मेरे घनश्याम।
रटे मेरे
रसना
मेरे घनश्याम।
रटे मेरी रसना मेरे घनश्याम।
रटे मेरी रसना मेरे घनश्याम।
अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम।
अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम।
लली लाल दो दे गरबाही।
लली लाल दो जय गरबाई।
लली लाल दो दे गरबाही।
लली लाल दो जय गरबाई।
दे गरबाही। हमारे किए बसना मेरे घनश्याम।
हमारे बसना मेरे घनश्याम
हमारे ये बसना मेरे घनश्याम
हमारे बसना मेरे घनश्याम
अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम
अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम
भाव हिंडोरे डारी हिये में
भाव हिंडोरे डारी
डारी हिये में भाव हिंडोरे डारी हिये में
भाव हिंडोरे डारी में
झुलाऊं नित झुलाऊं नित झुलना मेरे घनश्याम
झुलाऊं नित झूलना मेरे घनश्याम
अपनापन अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम
अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम
दे उपहार हार असुवन को
उपहार हार हसुवन को
हार असुवन को
हार हसुवन को
दे उपहार हार असुवन को
दे उपहार हार हसुवन को
बना लूं तुझे अपना मेरे घन श्याम बना लूं तुझे अपना मेरे घनश्याम बना लूं तुझे अपना मेरे घनश्याम बना लूं तुझे अपना मेरे घनश्याम अपना पन रखना मेरे घनश्याम अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम कैसे हूँ करे कृपालु प्रभु अपनों 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 पुरवो मम सपना मेरे घनश्याम पुरवो मम सपना मेरे घनश्याम ओ मेरे घनश्याम ओ मेरे घनश्याम अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम अपनापन अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम ओ मेरे घनश्याम ओ मेरे घनश्याम ओ मेरे घनश्याम ओ मेरे घनश्याम अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम अपनापन रखना मेरे घनश्याम बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय सियावर रामचंद्र की जय श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। devotional listeners, as we find out the glory of Bhagwan Shri Ram, and as we discover the aim of our life, then the natural desire is to learn about how to love Bhagwan Shri Ram. When the most fortunate individual finds out that he belongs only to Bhagwan Shri Ram and only Bhagwan Shri Ram belongs to him, then there's a natural desire for him, within him, to love Bhagwan Shri Ram, to devote himself to Bhagwan Shri Ram. And as we do that, we need the help of someone who is an expert in loving God. After all, when we set out to learn something in the world, we go to the expert. We go to the ones who are experts in that field. Parents send their children to various lessons. Besides tuition, parents send their children for piano lessons or harmonium lessons or singing lessons, dancing lessons, taekwondo lessons. There's so many lessons. And we learn them. These are learned through the experts in the field. Similarly, in order to learn how to love Bhagwan Shri Ram, we need to go to the experts. Now, you may ask, don't I know how to love Bhagwan Shri Ram already? In fact, we don't know how to love him. Because he is so simple that he is purchased by those who love him. So if we had known, if we knew how to love him, we would have loved him. And had we loved him, we would have reached him. We would have been in his abode. Which means that we need to learn how to love him. Perhaps we don't know what devotion really means. We think we know, but we may not know. So our scriptures tell us that we need the help of a guru. This evening I'm going to recite a verse by Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj, which has a wealth of knowledge contained in it. In Hindi we say Gagar mein Sagar. You contain the whole ocean in a little pot. And that is Shri Maharaj's trademark. In few words, he puts in so much knowledge. So that verse is, Hari Guru Bhaju Nit Govind Radhe Bhav Nishkam Ananya Bana De. Hari Guru Bhaju Nit Govind Radhe Bhav Nishkam Ananya Bana De. Beautiful words. Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj is one of those very rare saints who are not just saints. He was not just a saint. He was a Jagadguru. He was not just a guru, he was Jagadguru. Although a guru means someone who is equal to God. Tasmins tajjane bheda bhavat. Narad Ji says there is no difference between God and guru, between God and one who has attained God, one who has reached God realization. However, there have only been 5 Jagadgurus in the history of Kali Yuga. And these Jagadgurus, they are so special that there have only been 5 of them in 5,000 years. These Jagadgurus, like Adi Jagadguru Shankaracharya, first one, followed in history by Jagadguru Nimbarkacharya, Jagadguru Ramanujacharya, Jagadguru Madhvacharya, and Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj. A Jagadguru is that rare soul who is God himself, who descends to earth in the form of a guru. And he is hailed as Jagadguru, guru of the entire world. 2,500 years ago, Adi Jagadguru Shankaracharya, he was very young when he was hailed as Jagadguru. he defeated one scholar of the scriptures after another. When everyone had been defeated, they said his knowledge is formidable. It is knowledge that has been given to him by God. In fact, he is Jagat Guru. He is Guru of the whole world. His knowledge is complete. There is nothing that he does not know. They all bowed to him. They all became his disciples. Adi Jagat Guru, Shankaracharya. Today we all know that he was Shankar Bhagwan himself. In the same way, every Jagat Guru who has come after him has been God himself who has descended to earth. So the words of Jagat Guru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj carry tremendous weight. He teaches us how to practice devotion to Bhagwan Shri Ram. Shri Maharaj Ji says, Hari Guru Bhaj Nit. First of all, he says, worship God and Guru. And how? Nit, always. Always worship God and Guru. And keeping what in heart? Nishkamta. Love God and Guru at all times and selflessly. And also, your love for God and Guru must be ananya. It must be exclusive. Besides practicing devotion to God, our scriptures say that we must practice devotion to Guru in exactly the same way. There should be no differentiation. Shweta Upanishad says, Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha gurau tasyaite kathita hyartha prakashyante mahatmanah. Practice devotion to Guru just as you practice devotion to God. And then you will become enlightened. And everything that Jagat Guru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj has said, everything he has taught is backed up by scriptures. So when Shri Maharaj Ji says, Hari Guru Bhaju, that comes from the scriptures. Shweta Upanishad, I just quoted. And there are so many other quotations from scriptures that tell us that we must practice devotion not only to God, but also to Guru, together. Why? It is because Bhagwan Shri Ram does not bestow his knowledge and his love directly. He bestows his knowledge, divine knowledge and divine love through the Guru, via the Guru. Sometimes he comes himself in the form of a Guru. As I just said, Jagat Gurus have been God himself who has descended to earth in the form of a Guru. And sometimes he sends his pure devotees like Tulsi Das, Sood Das, Mirabai, Kabir Das, so many others. Sometimes he sends them to earth to teach us. God says, if you commit an offense against me, I will forgive you. But if you commit an offense against the Guru, against my dear, dear devotee, pure devotee, then I shall not forgive you. God regards the Guru so highly. In the Ramayana, it is said, Sunu Suresh Raghunath Subhau Nij Aparadh Risahina Kahu Jo Aparadh Bhagat Kar Karahi Ram Rosh Pavak So Jarahi. Committed offense against God and Guru will forgive you. Guru has the authority to forgive, to give forgiveness to you. But if you commit an offense against the Guru, then God says, I am helpless. God puts up his hands and says, I cannot help you. I am helpless. I will not forgive this offense. I cannot tolerate my pure devotee being insulted. Such is the greatness of a Guru. And then, how can we even fathom the greatness of a Jagat Guru? Even the Guru is A guru is so important and so highly regarded by God that in the Bhagavatam, Shri Krishna says, Anubrajamyaham nityam puye yetyangri renubhi. This is the second line. The first line is Nirapeksham munim shantam nirvairam samadarshanam. And I tell you this because a very beautiful incident comes to my mind. I was in the ashram and Shri Maharaj said to me one day, tell me the shlok Anubrajamyaham. He was testing me. And I said, Anubrajamyaham nityam puye ye tyangri renubhihi. Shri Maharaj says, that's fine, but what's the first line? And I did not know it. So I looked up the first line and then I memorized it. And that was many, many years ago when I was not yet preaching. I was under training. And so I memorized the first line and Shri Maharaj didn't ask me. I said, okay, I memorized it, but Maharaj didn't ask me. 1 day passed, 2 days passed, 3 days passed. Perhaps on the third or fourth day, all of a sudden, we were all sitting at the lotus feet of Shri Maharaj and Maharaj said, by the way, what's the first line? Then I said, I think I remember. It's Nirapeksham munim shantam nirvairam samadarshanam. So Bhagwan Shri Krishna says, I walk behind my pure devotee. And someone asked, do you walk behind that pure devotee to protect him? And Bhagwan Shri Krishna says, I don't need to walk behind him to protect him. I do that while sitting in his heart. I walk behind him so that the dust of his feet that is raised by his walking, that dust may fall on my body and so that I may become purified by the dust raised by his lotus feet. That is the glory of the Guru. But how do we recognize a Guru? This question was asked of Swami Vivekananda, the glorious disciple of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahans, the great, great saint. So Swami Vivekananda was asked, how do you recognize a Guru, a saint? This is how he answered it. He said, how are we to know a teacher then? How are we to know a teacher then? The sun requires no torch to make it visible. We do not light a candle to see the sun. When the sun rises, we instinctively become aware of it. And when a teacher of men comes to help us, the soul will instinctively know that it has found the truth. Truth stands on its own evidences. It requires no further testimony to attest it. It is self-effulgent. It enters into the inmost recesses of the heart, and the whole universe stands up and says, this is truth. Swami Vivekananda is saying, when a Guru comes your way, then you will recognize him. If you are wanting a Guru, you will recognize him. Because when the sun rises in the sky, you don't ever need to ask, has the sun risen? What kind of question is this? You instinctively know that the sun has risen. There is no need to, similarly, no need to ask, where is a Guru? If you are desirous of a Guru, the Guru will just appear in your life. You will know him to be a powerful personality. You will know him to be a divine teacher. Your heart will tell you, this is a true Guru. You will not look at number of disciples he has. You will not look at the color of his clothes. You will not look at the gender even. You will not consider his height or his weight or how well he sings, whether he's married or not, whether he is Brahmin or not. You wouldn't even care about any of that. Once Gauranga Mahaprabhu was asked, does a Guru have to be a Brahmin? And he said, no. Kiva vipra kiva nyasi shudre kine noye. Jai Krishna tattveta shay Guru hoye. Mahaprabhuji, who was a combination of Radha and Krishna, he had descended to earth 500 years ago. He took birth in Bengal. And he said, he came in the form of a saint, a Guru, but he was God himself. Another example of God descending to earth in the form of a guru. So he answered the question by saying, the guru may come from a Brahmin family or he may have been born in the Shudra's family. It matters not. You don't look at any of that. Those are externals. Go deep inside, detect his divinity. The one who knows Krishna is the guru. Jai Krishna Tattva Veta Shai Guru Hoy. The one who knows Krishna is the guru. In other words, one who has attained Shri Krishna is the guru. Then he may be a chamar. Raidas, Sant Raidas was a chamar, meaning he was a tanner. He used to work with leather. He used to dye leather. And he was Mirabai's guru. Mirabai, the great devotee of Shri Krishna, she accepted him as her guru. Sant Kabir Das was a humble weaver. Did he come from a Brahmin family? People didn't even know whether he was Hindu or Muslim. It didn't matter. Scholars of Kashi asked Kabir Das ji, they wondered why he had so many people listening to him where he was uneducated, despite the fact that he was uneducated. And so many people were not coming to listen to them, despite the fact that they were scholars. They asked this question of Kabir Das ji, and he answered. He said, with humility, he said the truth. He said, Tum kehte kagad ki lekhi. Main kehta aankhon ki dekhi. When you give your lectures, you speak about what you have learned by reading books. But when I speak from my own experience. Whatever I see, whatever I feel, that's what I tell people. So, a guru is not to be recognized through the caste he was born in, or any other external aspects. There was once a very hideous-looking man, but he was a great personality. His name was Ashtavakra. As the name suggests, his body was crooked at 8 different places. So every few inches, it was curved and crooked. When he was in his mother's womb, he would hear his father reciting shlokas, verses from the scriptures, and from the womb of his mother, he would say to his father, Father, this is wrong. You pronounced it wrongly. His father became so angry with him, he said, Jao, tum 8 jagah se tedhe ho jao. May you be crooked in 8 different places. You dare to correct me? So Ashtavakra was born, his body was very hideous. This is in the age of Treta. King Janak invited Ashtavakra to his court. And he had told so many people, kings and the sages and rishis, munis, he had told them all about the greatness of Ashtavakra. And they were all very excited to have the darshan of this great, great saint. They all had flower garlands in their hands and they were waiting anxiously. They were looking towards the door. When is he going to come? When is he going to come? When he came in and Janak went up and touched his feet, well, they all started laughing. They said, this is Ashtavakra? Such a hideous looking man. That's what they thought. They didn't say it out. Ashtavakraji was not affected adversely by their behavior. He was himself and he took his seat. You know, a saint regards praise and criticism alike. Ninda stuti ubhaya sam. He did not mind that they were laughing at him. He just sat down. But very wisely, he turned towards Raja Janak and he said, Janak, you did not tell me that you have all chamars in your court? Can you imagine a Brahmin being called a chamar? Unless he's very, very evolved. You didn't tell me you had chamars in your court? And everyone was offended. And how dare he call us chamar? They're asking each other. They asked King Janak, why is he calling us chamar? King Janak said, ask him. They asked him, why do you call us chamar? He said, what else should I call you? You looked at my skin my body, and you found it to be hideous and you laugh at me, that means that you did not go inside of me. You did not recognize me from inside. You just looked at me externally and you dismissed me as a nobody. Oh, he's so hideous looking. And someone who recognizes the skin very expertly is a chamar. He looks at animal skin and he says, this is very good leather. This is A-class leather. This is B-class. This is C-class. So you're all such good experts in recognizing the skin, leather, so I call you chamar. We must not look at anything external about when we try to recognize a saint. Recognizing a saint, how do you do it? You just have a desire to know God. A desire to know God will get you a guru in your life. The guru has been defined by Vedas as Gum Rauti iti Guruhu. Grinati Jnanam iti Guruhu. Girati Ajnanam iti Guruhu. The one who dispels ignorance is the guru. The one who grants true knowledge is the guru. Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedamayan nastya kriten tad vigyanartham saguru meva bhigachet samit pani shrotriyam brahmanishtham. Mundakopanishad. Mundakopanishad, this verse from Mundakopanishad says that a guru must fulfill two conditions. You're calling him a guru. Does he fulfill two conditions? What conditions? Which conditions? Number one, he must be Shrotriyam. He must have full knowledge of all scriptures. Does he have that knowledge? You call him a guru. All right, but do the scriptures agree with you? Does he have full knowledge of all scriptures? Oh yes, he knows the scriptures inside out. All right. But who can really know the scriptures inside out? These are divine books. They're not ordinary. Shri Maharaj used to say, in Hindi, he would say, these scriptures, they're not Tota Maina ki kahani. These are not children's fables. These are scriptures, holy books, written by personalities who have a divine mind. Or God himself reveals these scriptures. So they cannot be understood just like that. Who can know the scriptures inside out? He knows them inside out so that when he teaches humanity, he's able to make sense out of those scriptures. He doesn't fumble, he doesn't get confused because he knows them inside out. Shri Maharaj was giving lectures on Narad Bhakti Darshan back in 1990. And all of a sudden, Shri Maharaj came to the stage, and all of a sudden, he was scheduled to come to the stage. We knew that. But what I meant by all of a sudden is that he started talking on a scripture that we had never even heard of, Narad Bhakti Darshan. And as he spoke on this scripture for many days. And then one day he closed his eyes while he was giving a lecture, and he said, these 84 sutras that make up the Narad Bhakti Darshan, these 84 aphorisms, verses, they're just going like worms in my mind, each one saying, speak me first. And so you get an insight into what a divine mind is like. The scriptures beg him to reveal them to the world. Once, when Shri Maharaj was staying with a devotee family, and the man of the house, he was extremely devoted to Shri Maharaj. Shri Maharaj was much younger than him, but he recognized the divinity of Shri Maharaj. So he asked Shri Maharaj, when you're in your room and we know you're all alone, but then we hear voices coming from within. And sometimes it seems like these there's Sanskrit conversations going on inside your room. Sometimes it's a language that I don't understand, none of us understands. So Maharaji, my question is, who comes to your room? And in true fashion, in his humble fashion, Sri Maharaji says, what are you talking about, Mahabani? No, nobody comes to my room. Nobody's there. It's your house, nobody's there. I'm all alone. No. You must tell me. One day he insisted. So Sri Maharaji said, if you want to know, it is the Vedas in human form. They come to me and they are saying to me, please reveal us to the world. Tell the world what we are saying. Reveal our meaning to people of the world. Those are the voices. The voices you're hearing are those of the scripture, Vedas, that have taken the human form. They have come to me. So, the Guru is one who knows all the scriptures. Those scriptures stand before him with folded hands and they beg him to reveal them to the world. When Sri Maharaji spoke, when he gave lectures, when he opened his mouth, there were such beautiful words, quotations from scriptures. In every lecture, in each and every lecture, there may be at least 40 references to scriptures, many different scriptures, 40 quotations, 50, 60. That was just how he spoke. And when you heard him speak, you would get goosebumps on your skin. You would get tears in your eyes because the truth was being told, and the truth is extremely beautiful. And you don't hear the truth from everywhere. And you could feel the power of his words. You could feel the power of his words. That power still comes through when we listen to his words through the medium of TV and so on. That power still comes through. So a guru is one who knows the scriptures inside out, but how can he know the scriptures inside out? That is where the second condition comes in, Brahmanishtam. He must have attained God realization. He has attained God, and therefore God has given him his knowledge, infinite knowledge, and that's how he knows the scriptures inside out. So if you call someone a guru, then ask yourself 2 questions. Does he know the scriptures inside out? Well, just one question. Does he know the scriptures inside out? That's it. Or is he reading from the books and then giving the knowledge? So a guru like Saint Kabir Das Ji, he never read any book. He just spoke from personal experience. Tulsi Das Ji, we read his Ramayana and we go through so many emotions reading it. We feel the divinity of his words. Now that is a guru. That is a saint, sant, mahatma, mahapurush, guru. So, a guru is Shrotriyam Brahman Nishtam. Many people ask, oh, you can't find a guru. But if you go with the attitude that you can't find a guru, that means you don't want a guru, therefore you'll never find one. But if you say to God, I need a guru in my life, guru will come to you, no matter how. But I'm living in Iceland, it's okay, he'll come there. He will make himself known to you. I live in a very remote corner, I'm living in the Amazon jungle. Doesn't matter where you're living, your heart desires him, he will make himself known to you. So Hari Guru, Bhaju, and then Nit. Worship God, it's obvious that we must worship God. We belong to God. We want God, even though we may not be aware of it. Simply because we want happiness, that means we want God. So we must worship God, but also Guru. And how? Always. Devotion is not an activity in which we must engage from time to time. Oh yes, well I play basketball, I play volleyball, I play soccer, I play cricket, and I do devotion. It's an activity. I do my devotion, I engage in this activity of devotion once a week on a Sunday. Or once a day for a couple of minutes, or well, I give an hour every day. So that's my activity for the day, and then I'm done with it, finished with it, then I go on and do something else. No, devotion is a state of mind in which we must remain all the time. So this is where the nit comes in. Nit is always. Hari Guru Bhaju Nit. Always, always love God and Guru. Just like a mother always loves her child, no matter what she's doing. She's cooking, but she's loving her child. She's bathing, but at the same time, she doesn't forget her child. She's always loving the child. Sumiran ki sudhiyon karo, jo sur bhi sut mahi. Kaha kabir charo charat, kabhu bisrat nahi. Kabir Das ji says, remember God all the time, just like Surabhi, meaning a cow. Just like a Surabhi or a cow remembers her calf all the time while grazing in the pastures. The cow is munching on fresh green grass, but she is thinking of her child, of her young one all the time. Jo Surabhi sutamahi. Kabahu bisarat nahi. The cow does not forget its young one ever. In the same way, O sadhak, love God and love Guru. Love the divine Guru and love God in the same way. The word satatam has been used in the Gita. Shri Krishna says, practice devotion satatam, continuously. Shri Maharaj used a very beautiful word, tail dhara vada vicchin. Beautiful word. I had never heard it. I think nobody had ever heard it before Shri Maharaj said it. Taila dhara vada vicchin. And it means, tail, tail, oil. Dhara means flow. Just like the flow of oil is continuous, when you pour oil from the bottle into the pot, that flow of oil is continuous. There's no break in it. In the same way, the flow of your devotional sentiments towards God, they must be continuous. The stream of love must flow continuously towards the lotus feet of God. So devotion is not something you do from time to time. It is a state of mind in which you remain all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Next, Shri Maharaj says, Bhav Nishkam. Your feelings should be those of Nishkamta. You must have selfless love for God and Guru. That means when you worship God, you don't ask Him for anything. All that we have learned since childhood, all that we learn from early childhood is that loving God means, it means what? It means asking God for something or the other. Ask Him for health. Ask Him for wealth. Ask Him for a child. And if a child is praying, ask Him for good marks. Ask Him that you may win this game. Ask Him that you may win the prize. Saraswati Puja is done once a year, and parents encourage their children, go to Mother Saraswati and put your books right there at the altar and pray to her that you do well in your exams. And then people say, look at the child, so devoted. What devotion is that? That's not devotion. That's just going towards God, going to God, approaching God just to get something. That's not devotion. Shri Maharaj calls it selfishness. It is selfishness. We say, when I go to God and I ask Him for things, I'm a selfish devotee, okay? Give me a break. I'm a selfish devotee. But actually, we are not selfish devotees. We take out the word devotees, we are just selfish. You know who a selfish devotee is? Gajraj. A selfish devotee is Draupadi. Gajraj called out to God to save his life because the alligator had the elephant's, one of his legs in his mouth. So Gajraj, the king of elephants, he's asking God for protection. He's being selfish. But he's a devotee. He loves God completely, but he doesn't practice selfless love. So he asks God, and what does God do? He responds. Because that is a devotee. That is someone who loves God completely. So God comes and rescues him. Draupadi asks for protection. She asks Sri Krishna to protect her honor. Dushasan is trying to disrobe her in front of full court, and Draupadi is panicking. She has tried to get protection from her 5 husbands, the Pandavas, but they all hung their heads down in shame because they had lost the right to protect her. They had lost her in a gamble. She has looked towards the elders like Bhishma Pitamaha and Kripacharya, Dronacharya and the rest, but they have also hung their heads down in shame. They cannot protect her either. She has tried to save her own honor by taking the edge of her sari and putting it very tightly, holding it tightly between her teeth, but Dushasan just went like this. He had the strength of 10,000 elephants. So he easily took the sari out of her mouth, and then Draupadi, she prayed to Shri Krishna, Ha Nath Dwarika Vasin, O Lord of Dwarika, O King of Dwarika, my Lord, come and protect me. And immediately Shri Krishna went to protect her because she is a devotee. Selfish devotee, but a devotee. But when we go out and we approach God and ask Him for this and that, we're not devotees. Let's not fool ourselves. We're just selfish. Take out the devotee part. In order to love God, we need to start out. Right from the beginning, we need to learn to love Him unselfishly. Some people say, well, let me start out with being selfish, then I will learn to be unselfish later on. That doesn't work because this is not the first time we are doing devotion. We have practiced devotion infinite times before in our previous lives, and we have not become selfless yet. So when are we going to become selfless? A true guru will tell you, be selfless in your devotion. But people at least we people living in Kali Yuga, we are more likely to praise and glorify the one who says, look, come to me and I will plead your case in front of God. I will beg God to heal you. I will beg God to eradicate your poverty. I will beg God that you are childless to give you a child. People say, oh my goodness, he's so good. He is going to plead my case. And then people follow because he's pretending to give them what they want. But a guru will not fool you like that. He will not pretend to give you or plead your case in front of God. He will tell you, look, this is wrong. You must not ask God for anything. Jo swami so chahai kachu, so nahi das kahai. So swami na kahai jo das hi aas lagaye. Bhakti Shatak by Jagat Guru Shri Kripalu ji Maharaj. Jo swami so chahai kachu, so nahi das kahai. Das, you understand, meaning servant. He's not a servant if he makes demands of his master. If he says, I am a devotee of God, but he's always asking God for something or the other, he's not a devotee. He's not a servant. He thinks himself to be a master. He has no right to ask for anything. He is not a servant if he's making demands on the master. A true servant will say, Nit seva mangu. Nit seva mangu shama sham teri, na bhukti na hi mukti mangu main. A true servant will say, I do not want bhukti or mukti, meaning I don't want dharma, arth, kam or moksha. Dharma, arth and kam, these three are bhukti and liberation is mukti. He does not want bhukti or mukti. He wants nothing. He only wants to serve his Lord. He wants to be a servant forever and ever. He says, I don't even want liberation. I want bondage. Shri Krishna asks, do you want bondage? Why? I want the bondage of your lotus feet. I want to be ever bound to your lotus feet. I don't want liberation. That is nishkamta, selflessness. But let me speak a little bit more about that and about ananyata after doing Sankirtan with you. Radhe, 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 Radhe,
Radhe, Radhe,
Radhe, Radhe, Radhe,
Radhe, Radhe,
Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe,
Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe,
Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe,
Radhe, Radhe,
Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe,
Radhe, Radhe, Radhe 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 Shama 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 Radhe 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 बोलिए राधा रानी महारानी की जय। So the highest authority recognized by the greatest scholars, Jagat Guru Shri Kripalu ji Maharaj, tells us that our devotion to God and Guru must be selfless. If we think about it, there's really no need to ask God for anything unless we have no faith in Him. No, I have faith in Him. Do you believe that God is omniscient? He is all-knowing? Yes, of course. Yah sarvagyah sarva vidyasya jnanmayan tapaha. I believe what the Vedas say, that God is all-knowing. He is omniscient, sarvagya. Then do you not think that He knows what you need? Well, I guess He does know what I need. Of course He knows what you need. Do you think that you know more than Him? No. Then why do you ask Him? I don't know. This is something I've learned from childhood. Once someone told me, you are asking us to be selfless to God and not ask Him for anything, but my question is, next time I go to the mandir, what do I say to God? Only thing I know is how to ask Him for things. So there will be nothing. I can't communicate anything with God. Then my answer was, why don't you try loving Him? Speak lovingly to Him. That is devotion. Not asking Him for health, wealth, and child, and so on and so forth. Some people say that they ask something from God and God always complies. He always gives them what He's asked for. Well, if that is the case, then why not ask God for divine love? Why not ask Him for divine love? Why ask for small things like trinkets, like health, wealth, and other things of the world? Name, fame. Let me be known to all the world. Let me be famous. Why ask for something so small when you can ask Him for divine love? So it's not true that whatever I'm asking from God, He gives me. It's not true. Whatever is in our destiny is what we get. Asking God does not make sense. The only thing we should ask for is seva. Allow me to be a servant of yours, even though I'm not deserving of it. Or if you really want to ask Him for something else, which is good, ask for what Kunti asked of Him. Vipadah santu nashashvat tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yatsyada punarbhava darshanam. Bhagavad. Kunti said to Bhagwan Shri Krishna, she said, Gopal, give me problems in life. Give me problems. Mujhe dukh do. Mujhe kasht do. Why? Why would you ask for troubles in life? Problems in life? Nobody's ever asked for that. But I ask you for this because when I have problems in life, I do think of you. But when there's no problem in life, when everything's going well, I forget you. So I want problems in life. Do we have the courage to ask Bhagwan Sri Ram for problems in life? Give me problems, oh my sweet Lord. No, get rid of my problems. That's what we ask for. Sukh ke mathe sil paro, naam hriday te jaye, balihari va dukh ki jo pal pal naam rataye. A devotee has said, blessed are the sorrows that make me remember God, and cursed be that happiness that makes me forget Him. This is why Kunti asked for problems in life. So Jagatguru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj has extracted true knowledge from the Vedas, and he has told the whole world in one verse how to practice devotion. The last point he makes is ananyata. Your devotion must be exclusive. A lot of people practice devotion to Bhagwan Sri Ram, there's no doubt. Bhagwan Sri Ram, Bhagwan Sri Krishna. The Ishtadev may be Ram or Krishna or some other form of God, but side by side they practice devotion to Devtas from Swargalok, like Indra, Varun, Kuber, and the like. They hold yajnas to appease these Devtas. They forget what happened 5,000 years ago, which is recorded in the scriptures. When Bhagwan Sri Krishna graced this earth 5,000 years ago, he noticed that, and he was a child at that time, he noticed that people were worshipping Devtas. They were worshipping Indra. A grand puja was being held for Indra. And little Kanhaiya asked his father, Nanda Baba, he asked Nanda Baba, Baba, why are we doing puja to Indra? Beta, it is because Indra gives us rain. And when he gives us rain, we have plentiful crops and we have enough to eat throughout the year. Bhagwan Shri Krishna, in the form of a little child, he said, but Baba, it is Indra's duty to give us rain. He's a servant of God. That is his duty. We should not be worshipping him. We should be worshipping the Supreme. His father dismissed him. The elders dismissed him. But little Kanhaiya, he managed to talk to his friends, and he convinced them. Because, the children have a very wonderful thing inside of them, and that is the power to believe what they hear. They have faith. So when you tell a child something, that child will believe it. So we must always be very careful about what we teach our children, because they'll believe it. If a child is told, don't tell lies, and he catches his own mother or father telling lies, that child doesn't know what to think. How come you're telling a lie? Why are you telling a lie? You tell me not to tell lies. So Bhagwan Shri Krishna managed to, he easily succeeded in convincing his friends. And little by little, he did not give up. He convinced everyone. And everyone says, okay, let there be no worship. Now there will be no worship performed for Indra. And of course, everybody knows the story. Indra made it rain for 7 days, and such rain was never seen. It was the kind of rain that falls at the time of the Mahapralaya. Every raindrop was equal to, in size, to a, should I say, a baseball bat, a cricket bat. Every raindrop was so large. That's the kind of rain that fell. But ultimately, Indra surrendered to Shri Krishna. He understood who Shri Krishna was. Shri Krishna graced him, and Indra asked for forgiveness. And Shri Krishna got the title of Giridhari because he lifted the mountain, Govardhan, to protect everyone in Braj. So by performing the Leela of lifting Govardhan, Shri Krishna taught the entire world that Devtas are not to be worshipped, only the Supreme Lord. And please understand that by Devtas, I don't mean Bhagwan Shankar, because a lot of people say that is a Devta. No, Devtas in Swargalok, they're not divine. Indra, Varun, Kuber, and the like. They are not to be worshipped. We must not worship Devtas, Sattvic Devtas. We must not worship humans, Rajasic humans. We must not worship the Tamasic demons. Only one personality should be worshipped, and that is God. That is Ananyata. And yes, if there's another personality, that is the one who is equal to God, and that is a Guru. But no one else should be worshipped. Everyone is worthy of our respect because everyone has God in them. But we must worship only God and Guru, who is non-different from God. And even as you worship God, take care to worship one form of God while respecting every form. Ananyata also means that you worship one single form of God while respecting, deeply respecting every other form of God. Why? Because our mind is so worldly and it is so polluted with worldly thoughts that our mind finds it very difficult to concentrate on God. It's very difficult to concentrate on God. If we worship one single form of God, we are making it easier for ourselves to worship God. We can't even worship one single form of God. It's very difficult to meditate on one form of God. Then why should we be trying to worship 2, 3, 4, many different forms of God? That does not make sense. And we know that Saint Tulsidas worshipped Bhagwan Shri Ram. Surdas ji worshipped Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Mirabai was a Krishna devotee. Upamanyu was a Shankar Bhakt, he was a devotee of Bhagwan Shankar, and these are all exclusive devotees. They worshipped one single form of God. It's like a girl who gets married. Think of the traditional Indian setting. A girl gets married, she goes into her marital home, sasural, and her husband is there, but not only her husband, her in-laws, mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law. So she respects all of them, but her love is concentrated on her husband. She loves only her husband, but respects every other family member. In the same way, love your Ishtadev, but respect every other form of God because they are all different forms of your own Ishtadev. That is Ananyata. So, Shri Maharaj ji says, Hari Guru Bhaju Nit Govind Radhe Bhav Nishkam Ananya Bana De Bhav Nishkam Ananya Bana De. Worship God and Guru always, not just sometimes. And how is that possible? That is coming up in this series of talks. Worship God and Guru all the time while keeping feelings of while loving them unselfishly and exclusively. These are the words of Jagat Guruttam Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj. And I sometimes say Jagat Guru, sometimes Jagat Guruttam. Why? Because when the 500 scholars of scriptures back in 1957, when they were testing Shri Maharaj Ji, and he was only 34 years of age at that time, he had never studied any scripture, he had never had a guru. His formal education had come to an end at a very early age. His teachers would tell him in the classroom, please now you stop studying because you know more than us. His formal education had come to an end at a very early age, and the scholars knew all this, or they would find out later on. But when they heard this young man, they did not know what to think. And the only thing they concluded was, the conclusion they derived at was that he was a divine personality who had come to earth to bless everyone, to uplift everyone, to uplift humanity. They recognized him as not only Jagat Guru, Guru of the entire world, meaning anyone in the world can come to you and learn from you. And you will tell them about God, you will take them to God if they want to. But then they also said, the 4 Jagat Gurus who have come so far, they were great, but you are the greatest of all. Because you excel, you are topmost in devotion as well as knowledge. When you heard Sri Maharaj Ji speaking, when he spoke to the Vedic scholars, then, we could not have understood those lectures. They were at a very high level. When he spoke to the general public, he spoke at their level. He could speak at every level. There was a gentleman who heard Sri Maharaj Ji speaking at, I think, 4 or 5 different times in the course of 2 days, I believe. And he said, Maharaj Ji, if I had just heard these lectures and I had not seen you, I would think that there are 5 different people who have given these lectures. Sometimes you spoke at such a high level that only the greatest scholars could understand you. And sometimes you're speaking for the illiterate villager. Sometimes you're speaking for those who have some knowledge. You have spoken in 5 different places and you've given 5 different kinds of lectures. Shri Maharaj Ji smiled because he was topmost in knowledge and topmost in devotion. When he chanted the names of Shri Radha and Krishna, tears would flow from his eyes. He would forget his physical body. You would see the symptoms of divine love as described by the scriptures apparent on his physical body. He would have those symptoms. Stambha svedotha romancha swarabhedotha vepathu vaivarnyamashru pralaya ityashtau satvika smrita bhakti rasamrit sindhu. Rup Goswami Ji says, there are 8 symptoms of divine love. Stambha, sometimes that lover of God, he tries to hide his love, but there are times when he cannot hide that love, and that love comes gushing out of him. You see, saints try to hide their love. They don't proclaim it to the whole world. They don't beat their chest and they say, I am a guru, I am a saint, come and listen to me. No, they hide their divinity. Gopaniyam, gopaniyam, gopaniyam prayatnataha. Because true love for God should be hidden. It must not be made public so that it becomes a spectacle. But there are times when he can no longer hide that love. Then like gas that is building up in a pressure cooker, it has to escape at some point. Then when it does, it comes swooshing. It makes a swooshing sound. And in the same way, that love for God, it comes gushing out of him. And it is so powerful that there are physical symptoms that are apparent on the body, the divine body of the saint. So stambha, then he becomes like a pillar. Stambha means pillar, like this pillar. In other words, absolutely motionless. And there are other symptoms such as sweda. He perspires profusely. Romancha, he gets goosebumps. Stambha svedotha romancha swarabhedotha vepathu. Swarabhed, his voice changes. Vepathu, his body trembles. Vaivarnya, his face becomes pale. Ashru, he cries profusely. And finally, pralaya, he becomes unconscious. These are the symptoms that Shri Maharaj Ji displayed. Again, he would try to hide his love, but when he could not, we would get a rare glimpse of that love that was inside of him. Because that love could not be kept hidden. As Tulsidas Ji says, "Bair preeti nahi durahi durai." Love and hatred cannot remain a secret for very long. So, sometimes I call him Jagat Guru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj, sometimes Jagat Guru Uttam, because the scholars who knew these scriptures, each and every one of them, 500 of them, just imagine if you will, 500 scholars, greatest scholars in India, scholars of the scriptures, each one of them having studied one particular scripture or one part of a particular scripture. So they don't know the other scriptures, but they know their own scripture to a great extent. Not inside out, but they have studied the scripture all lifelong. And they were in their 70s or 80s or even 90s, and 500 of them sitting there, and they see this 34-year-old young man. They tested him for 10 days, and he spoke to them. And he spoke in Hindi. They said, "Can you speak Sanskrit?" He said, "If you like." And nobody had ever heard him speak in Sanskrit. He spoke in Sanskrit in front of the scholars. He gave lectures in Sanskrit. There was no end to his knowledge, but his devotion was just as strong as his knowledge. So he was called Jagat Guru Uttam. He is hailed as being the best of all Jagat Gurus who have graced this earth. His words, dear listeners, his words carry tremendous amount of weight. He has that authority. When he spoke with authority. You knew it was the truth. Even if you didn't understand the language he spoke in Hindi. You knew that he was speaking the truth because it was apparent. His words need to be listened to, they need to be repeated, they need to be understood, they need to be followed. So Shri Maharaj Ji says, worship God and Guru all the time, selflessly and exclusively. I will share more tomorrow. Boliye Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki Jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.